Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just want to tell you what a joy it is just to be with you. We're at the midpoint of the holiday season, looking back at Christmas, ahead to the new year. Just a wonderful time to be ourselves, to be in this wonderful spirit, not just of the season, but to be in the spirit of all the time, of being the eternal presence at the very center of our beings, consciously present to life. How wonderful. Just a few comments before we do our teaching today. First of all, I'd like to invite all of you to the New Earth teaching tonight. It'll be from 6 to 7:30. Be very happy to have you join us tonight, Sunday. And then tomorrow, Monday, certainly want to welcome all of you to our meditation from 7 to 8. It is so fun, so enjoyable. And then also you'll be receiving our emails for the New Year's Eve celebration, as well as for the New Year's Day service. So please be attentive to the emails. You'll only be able to access the New Year's Eve and the New Year's Day services simply from our emails. And we will be able to have a New Year's Day evening weekend enrichment encounter, which will be accessed from the website. If you have any questions on that, let me know. My dear friends, I want to again thank you for the opportunity of addressing you in these weekly teachings. A phrase that many of us now use in the enlightenment process is that the energy is speeding up. The energy is accelerating. The real truth of the matter, however, is not that the energy is accelerating, but rather that you are speeding up. You are accelerating. You are accelerating by moving into what we taught in the last couple of weeks, namely, you are moving into the grandest version of the greatest vision of who you are. And that is the God Spirit, the grandest version of the greatest vision, being in the God Spirit. You have made the shift from that limited human personality, although it was always very nice, much more into the unlimited eternal presence, that much more beautiful God self. You have launched yourself into greater expressions of the God Spirit, greater expressions of yourself. Amazing, wonderful, what you have achieved. Well, with this launching in mind in the future, what I'd like to now present to you is today's teaching entitled Beyond Your Old Self. Beyond Your Old Self. In this teaching, I will address several comments that many of you have made, and then focus on 3 spiritual principles assisting us to move beyond the old sense of self. I want to begin with a comment that one of our members made in a card that she sent to me. I thought that the comment was very insightful because it tied together 2 thoughts in such a meaningful, practical way. This was her comment. Thank you for bringing heaven to earth, creating a much better self. That's pretty interesting. Thank you for bringing heaven to earth, creating a much better self. This is such a profound comment because it clearly connects the notion of bringing heaven to earth with the idea that this process of bringing heaven to earth has created a much better self. such a wonderful understanding of what we are doing. Bringing heaven to earth is really bringing the God Spirit into our lives. And this process of bringing the God Spirit into our lives has created a much better self. I feel that this comment lies at the heart of moving beyond our old self. Thus, the first of the three principles I want to share with you is not just that you have changed, not just that you have proved, but that you have moved beyond into the realm of spirit. You have moved into the realm of spirit, beyond just changing, beyond just improving. You have made the shift from your limited personality into the unlimited soul presence. It's not just that you've changed or improved, but you have elevated into the realm of spirit. This shift, this change is so important in light of two comments that some people, in a sense, have made to me over the last month. The first one made by a person was, I have lost myself. I have lost my sense of self. The person had come to understand that in the midst of assisting her family and friends to grow, she had lost her sense of self. This is very, very easy to do. One can get so busy tending to the needs of others that one loses their self in the process. And then the situation worsens when the person begins to feel guilty, taking time to try to find themselves. And the situation becomes even a little more complex when the person tries to improve, but not really elevate into spirit. Let me explain. So many times we try to make spiritual improvements in our lives, maybe by taking a yoga class or meditating a little bit more. While these things are helpful, while they are an improvement, oftentimes the person still feels lost because while they have improved, they have not elevated into spirit. Something is still missing. That something that is still missing for a lot of people prompted me then to ask another person a question that was very, very important. The question I asked to them was, what have you forgotten? I know this person quite well. So when I said, what have you forgotten? I felt that I was very genuine and sincere, and I felt that they would understand the question. That person said that what I have forgotten is I have forgotten the reason why I've come here to the planet. I have forgotten to bring the God Spirit more deeply into my life so that I could bring heaven to earth. While her improvements of taking a yoga class and meditating a little bit more were helpful, that person came to understand that she still was not able to elevate her sense of self. She will eventually. But you have elevated. You have not only improved, but you have elevated your self-identity from seeing yourself as that lovely personality self, but now elevating to be a much more loving presence. And you've been able to elevate into this loving presence consistently, consciously, and happily. Please do not underestimate what you have accomplished, not just for yourself, but also for your immediate family and friends, for the human community, and certainly for the planet. Let me now proceed to the second principle, again preceded by a comment made by one of our members. This is such a beautiful comment. In her comment, she said that one of the other members of our groups was able to show to her a certain sense of presence that enabled her to experience that God presence within herself. The other party had elevated into the God Spirit, and that example enabled the person herself to elevate. She was so moved and inspired by what she saw and experienced. We clearly know that we do influence each other with our spiritual presence. This is not competitive. This is not comparing. We simply realize that on many, many occasions, holding the God Spirit, holding the God energy can provide a very beautiful example for others. And of course, we also know that each one of us holds this God Spirit at different times to assist others in the circumstances of their lives. What becomes extremely important for me is that this notion of the example of another prompted in me an old idea, a new idea, and then a principle. First, the old idea. Do you ever recall in your life, especially as a child, when perhaps your parents or your teacher said to you, stand up straight, watch your posture? This idea of standing up straight brought to me the idea of our spiritual posture. Standing up straight in life, spiritually. Developing a spiritual posture of standing up straight in the God presence, in proceeding in life with a sense of knowing exactly what you're doing, bringing awareness here to the planet, not diverting from this beautiful opportunity. Stand up straight, spiritually. Now, with this notion of developing a strong spiritual posture, a principle came to me. Initially, the principle might sound a little negative, but I think you'll see the positive aspect shortly. The principle is, do not try to fix what isn't working for you. Don't try to fix what isn't working for you. There are many applications of this principle. For example, don't try to fix what isn't working for you spiritually. Don't try to fix what isn't working for you physically. Don't try to fix what isn't working for you relationally. Don't try to fix what isn't working for you mentally and emotionally. So many times we get stuck in what used to work for us, it no longer does so. May I say this again? We get stuck at times by focusing on what used to work for us, it no longer does so. The beauty of this teaching is that we have outgrown much of our past. We've outgrown much of our past. And what becomes extremely important is maybe if we would just add one more word. Don't try to fix what isn't working for you. Adding one more word anymore. Don't try to fix what isn't working for you anymore. Now that principle really makes sense. You have grown beyond where you were. You have not just improved and changed, you've elevated. It only stands to reason that the past is what you have outgrown. Allow yourself now to move beyond that past so that you can see the positive side of the principle, namely giving full attention what is working for you. Giving full attention to what is working for you, a new set of practices, a new set of principles and values that are much more in harmony with your growth into an elevated spirit. As we've said several times in the class, please do not try to become a better old you. Don't become a better old you. You are a new you with an incredible new view of life, bringing heaven to earth as the God Spirit here on the planet. Wow. Which now brings me to the third principle that I want to address in today's teaching. As the new you emerges, a new source of guidance starts to become very clear to you. This is so important. Rather than listening to what the world says is important, rather than listening to the voices in your head, rather than listening to what others are trying to tell you what to do, and they will try to do that, you have now begun to listen to the inner guidance of your soul. You have now begun to listen to the inner guidance of your soul. And let me now begin to suggest to you that you are honing, you are sharpening the skills of your soul. You are sharpening the skills of listening to your soul in two specific ways with an incredible result. The first way, you are beginning to be comfortable to move into the silence, into the quiet. You realize that the noise of the world will clamor for your intention. So now you understand through your practices to slow down your activities and enter into the silence. Did you ever think you would want to spend a little more time alone to listen and to be filled from within? I applaud you. I applaud you for this skill that you have developed, desirous of being in the silence. But it's the second way that has been incredibly impressive as well. Not only are you able to enter into the silence, oh, this is so important, but now you are able to hear your soul's response. Wow. Not only do you enter into the silence, but now you hear your soul's response. We normally call these responses intuitions. Intuitions are the clear messages from your soul to guide you into expression, into material realms. And what has really changed is not only that you are becoming more clearly able to hear your intuitions, but what's really changing is you're beginning to act upon them. There was a time when you received the intuitions, but you did not listen attentively. Oh, you would say, I want to know the will of God. But when the will of God came to you through your intuitions, either you didn't realize that intuitions are how God speaks to you, or you weren't ready to follow those intuitions. The world still had its grip on you, but not anymore. Not anymore. Because you have entered into the silence, even in the midst of a busy day, your soul is now guiding you because you have made the time for it to do so. And your soul is responding to you. You've made the time. At first, like anything else, you had to test out your soul's guidance. At first, as one of our members recently mentioned in our topical conversations of kindness, these intuitions were really small guidances over a long period of time. Small guidances. But then something dawned on you. You said to yourself, every time that I follow my soul's guidance, situations worked out for the best. Every time you did it, it worked. What becomes extremely interesting then is that you clearly began to understand something else. Well, if you were able to follow your soul's guidances in small situations, why could you not follow your soul's guidances in bigger issues, such as relationships, higher values, personal growth? Now the light has really dawned. You have now begun to listen to the intuitions of your soul in all areas with such a great sense of confidence. You now know that the intuitions of the soul can be trusted not just in little things, but in the major decisions of your life. And then two additional things occurred in your life. The first one, as you listened more attentively to your soul's guidance, you really did begin to elevate. You began to elevate from being a nice personality into the larger presence of your soul. This expanded elevation from the personality of presence into the reality of presence by following the intuitions of your soul has become the principal reason for your spiritual growth. You've elevated from personality into presence. You've listened. And this is the principal reason why you have grown so well. And then you noticed a second thing. You began to notice that following the intuitions of your soul, are you ready for this? Is doing the will of God. You have accepted your fact. You have accepted the fact that your soul is the means through which the will of God speaks. You've accepted the fact that the intuitions of your soul are the means through which the will of God speaks. Whew. This is once again clearly evidenced in the certitude of expressing your soul's guidance and the successes that this guidance brings to you. You have changed inwardly because you've gone beyond the old self and vision, and you really are becoming the grandest version of the greatest vision you have. You're becoming that beautiful, beautiful soul, clearly guided, bringing heaven to earth by following the intuitions of your soul. This is the new you. In conclusion, I encourage you to stand up straight with a great spiritual posture and no longer lose yourself in what doesn't work. You not only know better, but you know how to know better by taking the time to listen to the absolute truth of the intuitions of your soul. Well done. Very well done. Oh, and again, may I remind you that we are doing this together. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. What fun, huh? Just what absolute fun. Let us begin as we normally do by simply focusing on the breath and allowing the breath to do what it does, to be able to relax your body, diminish your chit-chat in the mind, and bring your soul self, that newer you, into play. Please begin. And would you again say to yourself, here I am. Here I am. Didn't take long to find yourself, did it? You know where you are now. You know you. You know you. You know that the inner you is you. Let us now take the moment to locate that inner you within your body. And again, just placing your hand over your sternum helps you to feel the presence of the inner you right behind your sternum, right in your body. And would you simply say to yourself, I am conscious of being me. I am conscious of being me. But I was not always as conscious. Even in the recent past, there were times where I so identified with my body or my mind or my worldly self and what people would say about me or what I thought about others. There was a time when I was still a nice person, but still in the grip of the world. I was improving. I was getting better. That I had not elevated. And there are times where I still get stuck. But because I have elevated, I do have a new sense of being me. I am my soul self. I have elevated. The reason for my elevation is because I came to realize that there is another voice to be listened to. And I have been willing to take the time to listen to it. It's not the clamor of the world. It's not the voices in my head, mother, father, teacher, preacher, should do this, should do that. None of that anymore. I have taken the time to listen to what my soul is guiding me to do. Your soul self is the new you. I'll say it again. Your soul self is the new you. Please now focus deeply. This soul self is a presence. It's a bigger than you presence. You have elevated into the God Spirit. I know you feel this. This is the voice your soul is listening to. Now, would you just be happy that you have elevated? Be happy. Put a smile on your face. You know this. You know this. you're happy. You are the bright light of your own future.
I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste.
You can't help but smile, being exuberant. A new you, a new me, a new us, happily bringing heaven to earth, and in the process, elevating the self. It does make you smile. Namaste, dear ones. Namaste.